To the Hills, editor-in-chief Bob Cusack. We got Fox Business' Gerri Willis and former Bush 43 Deputy Assistant Brad Blakeman. All right, so Gerri, to you first. You've been following these back and forth on this. What I think Speaker Ryan was saying is we will do this, but it's not going to happen fast. That is on the health care front. And if he's right on that, then that pushes everything back, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And interesting what he said, not only would it take weeks and months, but tax reform would take longer than health care, and we've seen how long health care is taking. By the way, here is the amendment right here, 4 pages that they talked about today. What they want to do is put together high-risk pools so that people who are really sick would get help from the federal government. Cost of this, $15 billion over 8 years. Will it work? We've got to wait and see, I guess. I mean, everything's going in the kettle here. Every idea we've seen being thrown in the pot. We don't know how they'll interact. Neil?
You know, Bob, as I was saying here, the president outlined a hope, I guess, at first in this New York Times interview and then elsewhere, that he would love to get infrastructure in this health care rework attempt married. In other words, I guess to get Democratic support that would fly in the face of, obviously, the very partisan rancor with the last go-round at this and what happened just today with Judge Gorsuch and the nuclear option, all of that. How likely is that?
Neil, I think it's a non-starter for Democrats. I think anything that repeals Obamacare, they're just not going to sign off on. Now, I do think you could mix transportation infrastructure reform with tax reform, and you're giving something that is beneficial for districts. Recently, I talked to the transportation chairman, Schuster, and he said, listen, a lot of these highways, they go through multiple districts and can help Democrats and Republicans. So if you tie tax reform to transportation with pay-fors, maybe you can get that done. I just don't think mixing it with health care, I think that's just that Democrats are like, no. So I don't think that's possible. But Neil, these are all heavy lifts. These are going to all take a long time. Yeah,
you know, and Brad, I could be wrong, but I just don't see it happening. I don't see, for example, the tax cut thing happening this year at all. If it's contingent, and for the time being, it does appear to be contingent on them settling their differences and approving this rework on health care. That's well past the late summer. Forget about anything retroactive. I'm just wondering whether anything active gets done on tax cuts at all this year. What do you think?
I think it has to, Neil.
I'm fully agreeing on that front. I think it has to. I'm just not so sure it will.
2017 has got to be a year of action because 2018 gets us right smack in the midterm elections, and if Republicans have nothing to show for the electorate giving them the keys to the kingdom, then we're going to have a very sorrowful event happening in 2018. So I happen to agree with Bob. I think if you want Democratic support, then tie infrastructure to taxes. You're more likely to have a better time of seeking Democratic and Republican opportunities. Health care is something that is a must. We have to get health care done. And if I were betting, I would say that health care needs to be done in 2017, will be. The question is, what will the president do with infrastructure and taxes? I believe that can also be done this year. But the clock is ticking. Once we get past January of 2018, people are in re-election mode. And this town seems to shut down, and nothing will get done.
Well, look, they're already taking 2 weeks off here. I mean, I always thought when my girl was in college, I mean, she had more time off than she went to school. But that's neither here nor there. But, you know, Gerri, I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, all right, everything has got to go right. I know the Trump administration is going to, as it probably should, take a bow for getting Gorsuch through and likely confirmed as a Supreme Court justice, albeit by a majority, tomorrow. That's a win. They've needed a win. How much wind at the back does that provide for some of this other stuff, you think?
I just think it continues to be hard because the wind at the back they need conservative Republicans to go along with moderate Republicans. And these folks aren't getting more close together. In my mind, I've talked to some of these moderate Republicans who were part of the original health care bill. They are mad as heck about the way this has proceeded, that the Club for Growth is involved. They don't like any of this. Yeah. So the closer you get to the conservatives, the further away the moderates go. It doesn't seem possible for them to get together. I don't see the way forward, not right now.
What do you think, Bob, on this and how this victory the president gets on a Supreme Court pick, arguably one of his greatest achievements early on in his presidency, and that it does have sort of residual value?
Yeah, no, it is a win for the president, no doubt about it. It's also a win for Senator McConnell, who blocked Garland, who really has had an uneasy relationship with the right and conservative groups. They're applauding him for what he's done here. Of course, Democrats are very upset.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if he could have had Gorsuch and health care, remember, health care was supposed to be done by today or tomorrow. If he could have had both those by now, he would have so much momentum, and he doesn't, because he really only has Gorsuch and killing some regulations.
All right, guys, thank you all very, very much.